If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? You'll fade the words I will show.
Happy Wednesday to everyone in the sports universe. It is September 13th, 2023. From Las Vegas, Nevada sports universe. I am Michael Carvelis, and he's Aaron Crouch. I am Michael Carvelis in Savannah is Georgia sports universe. I always ruin the intro. Aaron, how has your last 2 days been, sir?
Becoming such a tradition now for you to just ruin the intro at this point.
Yes.
Okay, you guys know that show AM Drive? They're awesome, but I just tune out the first 45 seconds of it.
That's attention spans. That's not good.
Maybe that's our thing,
Oh.
Tune in a minute late. You know what? I mean, it hasn't really much changed since Monday. I know that we've got some big injury news, obviously, in the NFL. What week wouldn't be without big injury news in the NFL? It seems like they're all getting injured. Everybody's blaming turf. But over here, not too much. Everybody's kind of celebrating a Raiders win. I know that sounds weird considering there's not a lot of Raiders fans, but I think, I'll be honest, I think Jimmy G has really kind of given people who are not Raiders fans in this city just kind of a little boost to actually root for him. I like Jimmy G.
I mean, he's easy to root for. He's
a handsome man.
That's right. Head to MikeandAaronDrive.com. Aaron, where's your company stuff, man?
No hoodie today. I've got rocking the double tumblers though.
Yes. I got my hoodie back on.
I see that. You got the hoodie on. Of course, I don't wear the hoodie the day you actually wear a hoodie.
That's a fair point. You look skinny, though. I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I've been hitting the gym. I don't know if it's really showing yet, but
it's showing on the show, and that's what matters.
Oh, wait. There we go.
Ooh. So Monday Night Football review / recap. The Jets did beat the Bills in overtime. And just when you thought the script writers had screwed it up with the doink that was loud as crap, then the punt return touchdown in overtime helped out a ton. What is your thoughts on the game as Zach Wilson played pretty much the entire game? And then we'll get to Aaron Rodgers' injury, which now the PA is now going crazy about.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't watch too much of this game post Aaron Rodgers' injury. It seemed like it was just one of those all right, well, the Bills got this one in the bag. No big deal, and boy, was I wrong. I mean, so, yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, a lot of people are crapping on Zach Wilson, and I watched some of the highlights, and he didn't look great, but he didn't look terrible. I thought he looked okay. There was one play where I saw he just kept running back and back and back, and it's like, dude, just throw the ball away. I saw that a lot this week one. I saw a lot of quarterbacks, mostly the young quarterbacks, just not throwing the ball away. I know that isn't the sexy play, but, trying to run over a linebacker just 9 times out of 10 is not going to go well for you.
Right.
Or trying to avoid pass rush. Just get rid of the ball. Anyways, like I said, I didn't watch a ton of this game. What I did catch, obviously, was the Rodgers injury and some highlights along the way. And I think this game, despite the fact that it's, the Jets won, the walk-off punt, this game's really more telling about the Bills. I mean, you've had all off-season, you've got a quarterback who just can't seem to take that next step against the teams that matter. I understand the press conference, Josh Allen. You can, this is all me, all you want, but 3 interceptions, this stuff just can't continue to happen if the Bills want to be a bona fide contender. And a lot of that problem, not to put it all on Josh Allen's shoulders, they still can't run the ball.
I mean, the Chiefs, to be fair, can't run the ball either. But Patrick Mahomes hasn't.
Josh Allen's not Patrick Mahomes.
Buffalo fans, I said before the season started, Buffalo fans are worse than Cowboys fans because at least Cowboys have some hardware. Even though it's dusty, it's hardware.
Ironically, against the Bills.
Right, and they're both the loudest fan bases in the league. Well, I see at least
I mean,
Cowboys have something to lean back on.
I understand that, and I understand you have to kind of almost hype yourself up sometimes. I'm not saying Josh Allen's a bad quarterback at all by any stretch. I mean, if I'm a a team, a middling team, if I'm a team like Tampa, do I want Josh Allen? Absolutely, sure. But the fact of the matter is when he gets into games, when he gets into spotlight games, maybe he's Kirk Cousins. I don't know, but
or Daniel Jones.
Me,
I see that primetime stat too.
Is he starting to develop one? I didn't know that. I don't know. I'm not putting it all on Josh Allen's shoulders, but a comfortable running game would make games like this a lot easier to manage and not make Josh Allen feel like he has to throw the ball down the field like he did into the defense's hands. I did see the whole thing with Robert Saleh and I don't know the guy. What's the name of the guy? Quentin Gibson or something like that.
Oh yeah.
The last episode of Hard Knocks where he said, you're going to do big things for this team. I mean, dude paid dividends right away. I mean, that's how lucky is that Robert Saleh looks like a genius when that stuff happens. I know you don't care about that stuff, but it's kind of funny how it almost is apropos that he's the guy to walk off, the first game, post what I think could be the end of Aaron Rodgers' tenure in the NFL.
I was going to ask you that because Aaron Rodgers has a complete Achilles tear. So the doctor on Twitter was right because that was confirmed by Schefter and others. You had a poll on our Twitter/X page. That just sounds like a porn site at this point. Anyways, 70% of the 70 votes voted like I did. No, Aaron Rodgers will not play a Jets game again. I think it'd be in his best interest health-wise. Like, why would you come back from this? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp. I also voted that no, he will not play for the Jets again or play in the NFL again. Really, I mean,
right.
Let's look at it this way. If we want to believe Aaron Rodgers, in the offseason, didn't he come back from that trip or go into that trip like 90% retired?
Yes,
something along those lines.
And so I think this one pushes the needle pretty far, don't it?
I mean, the guy's going to be 40 years old. He's going to be coming back. He's going to get paid, what, $40 million just for this year to be on injured reserve. He's got enough money. He's got enough time. He doesn't have time left. So, I don't think there's anything he can do to, if he's trying to get in a GOAT conversation. I know he's in some people's, but I'm saying if he's trying to get in a general GOAT conversation. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that stuff matters to him. So, theoretically, in my mind, he's got nothing left to prove at this point. He doesn't need another ring. I mean, he could want one, but he doesn't need one. So
he could use one.
The only thing I could see making him come back is either a point of personal pride or guilt towards what the Jets had to do and go through this offseason to get him.
Only way I see him coming back is if he speeds up his recovery miraculously in the next 6 months. I don't see anything else happening.
See, the thing is, I would go the complete opposite direction, and if I'm making the attempt to come back, I would go the full year. He's not going to do training camp anyways. What difference does it make? Right. I would take the full year, make sure I'm fully healthy if I'm decided to come back. But there's so many other questions at this point. Is, if you're the Jets, am I waiting on Aaron Rodgers to come back? What if
Zach Wilson makes the playoffs or comes close to it?
Well, that was the other thing. You have two ways. If Zach Wilson makes the playoffs, is he the quarterback of the future? I don't know. Maybe he takes a giant leap this offseason or this season, or he's absolutely abysmal and they have a top 5 pick. I mean, am I waiting?
Top 10 quarterback still, maybe?
Am I drafting Drake May? Am I drafting Caleb Williams if I can move up? Am I drafting maybe what's Deion Sanders' kid's name? Shador?
Shador.
Shador.
Shader would be good.
I thought it was Shader, but anyways, whatever his name is, Deion's kid. He might be moving up draft boards too. He looks like an Anthony Richardson type prospect, so I don't see why he would, not be around. Huh?
He's electric for sure.
Sure. I mean, my point being is that there's so much more for the Jets. They don't lose their first round pick next year because Aaron Rodgers is not going to play 65% of the snaps. So they're really in kind of a limbo spot. They obviously want to perform well with Zach Wilson, but if they don't, it's I think I could still draft a top 5 quarterback, but now I've got Zach Wilson, a top 5 pick, and Aaron Rodgers. Like it seems like a mess that Robert Saleh doesn't want to be in.
It's bad. I know. Sauce Gardner said that Aaron Rodgers told him, "I let you down, kid." That tells you Aaron Rodgers is probably as heartbroken as anyone right now because he switched teams for crying out loud. And someone on my Facebook was like, "Hey, he could have just retired as a Packer for all this."
I mean, effectively, he might at this point. I mean,
So it's one of the weirdest events in NFL history I can remember. Like just all the expectations, and he didn't get a chance, and now he may have to retire. That's a weird situation to be in.
yeah, I mean, I guess like I said, I guess we'll never know at this point. And I mean, the thing is like, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers guy. You know that I've proven that on this, but you never want to see somebody go out this way. This is so ugly. If this is it for Aaron Rodgers, it's so bad.
Barstool Big Cat was saying the same thing. Apparently, he's like a big Rodgers hater. He said, I've got to. He said, I've done a complete 180 if I feel bad for this guy right now.
Yeah, I mean, like if he comes back on the field and actually makes a comeback, I won't be rooting for him. But
it'd be cool.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact of the matter is if he can come back and do that at 39 years old, it'd be nice to see.
Give me one take on your on the grass gods here, because I know we have a Super Bowl talk with how that field was played. Like it was not very good apparently with the slipping. And then now the NFLPA is campaigning for, like, I just got a notification that they're campaigning for everyone to have neutral playing field. Like neutral grass.
Right.
I'm a fan of that. I think it's long overdue.
I don't understand how these turfs that are supposed to be so technologically advanced are so bad for players. So I don't know. To me, I'm all for whatever is keeping athletes from getting injured, because the little the NFL that we enjoy watching does include the superstars. No disrespect to the third string guys, but I don't understand how this technologically advanced turf is just so bad for sports. It doesn't make sense to me.
I'm just surprised they didn't cancel the game after Aaron Rodgers got carted off.
Jeez.
I'm sorry. NFL top 5. I love getting canceled. NFL top 5 teams. I'm very excited. You want to do yours first, or who we got?
All right, yeah, I can go first. I don't think that this is a shock list, but I ran this by some of our buddies, including Sammy Action, and he was shocked at the placement of some of my teams. So I'll go 5-1. Number 5 for me is the Cleveland Browns.
Wow.
They may not stay in this spot based on in a couple of weeks, but man, week 1 they didn't look statistically beautiful, but man, they dominated Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals just in all facets of the game. So they made number 5 for me. Baltimore, not a sexy win, but a win nonetheless. You know how I feel about them in terms of my predictions this season. So Baltimore will be number 4 for me. Dallas, number 3. It was a toss-up between 3 and 2 for me in this spot. They didn't show me enough on offense. Granted, they didn't have to in this game to win it, but they didn't show me enough on offense to move them higher. So I got them at number 3 with a chance to really move up. It wouldn't take much to let's say that.
Right.
Number 2 for me is Miami, the Dolphins. That offense is explosive. Can the defense not give up 30 points a game? I don't know. We'll see. I know that Jalen Ramsey not being there is obviously a big loss for them, but they didn't have Jalen Ramsey last year, so we'll see. And number 1, of course, is the San Francisco 49ers. Just a full, complete domination, offense, defense, special teams of a team that everybody loved in the offseason for one reason or another. And so that's mine. Cleveland, Baltimore, Dallas, Miami, and San Francisco, 5-1.
All right. I have an honorable mention. It is the Jets.
No, it's top 5. NFL.
Well, I just want to say the Jets. I wanted to plug that in there.
Why the Jets?
Because they did beat the Bills with Zach Wilson, and he's
where are the Lions? They beat the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and that was an impressive win, but Thursday was so long ago. I'm not going to lie. I totally
They didn't make my list either. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Number 5, the Packers. I know they beat the Bears, but remember when Aaron Rodgers owned the Bears, and I was like, oh, well, now we got Jordan Love. Well, they walk into Chicago, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur still own you guys. Matt LaFleur is a really good coach. He's a very high tier 2. Could be sneaking into my tier 1 if I had to make those. And number 4, the best offense in the league with a quarterback who is healthy, you scumbag media. The Dolphins are at number 4, although Chargers are nothing, no defensive juggernaut.
Right.
Number 3, I know his last name is Purdy, but he's very average to me. And so I think he holds the team back. I think 49ers, of course, yeah, they walked into Pittsburgh and won. But to be fair, I voted the Steelers to win this game. I didn't expect the offense to look the exact same, if not worse, than last year. I thought Matt Canada is going to get fired within the next 24 hours, it feels like. That's what Steelers fans want, for crying out loud. Number 2, best defense in the league. And I think Giants are no slouch. I still think at the end of the year we're going to see that. Cowboys took their pants down, beat them, pulled them back up, and said, "Now let's do it again," and pulled them back down, beat them again. Number 1 for me is a team. The Chiefs could have been in this spot. They just go 1-0, but it's the Ravens because they are one of our favorites to like this year. And I feel like Lamar Jackson plus the defense did just enough to be my number 1 team. I know, very controversial.
I don't disagree with Baltimore could be number 1 in this spot. I don't think they did enough for me against a Houston team
Agreed.
to show me the style points. It's amazing if Kansas City just holds on and wins 20-14, you just have them at number 1. That's insane.
They are number 1. Yeah.
They've got so many problems right now, and getting Chris Jones back is going to matter for sure. Obviously, he re-signed to a 1-year deal, but San Francisco, I mean, you're insane with San Francisco. I mean, Brock Purdy has literally not lost as a quarterback in the NFL. So to say he's holding them back right now, I think is just an absurd statement. You may be proven right in the playoffs this year. I don't know. I mean, if there is a weakness, it is quarterback, but that's not saying he's a bad quarterback. I think you're absolutely insane with that take.
I need them to face a team that can shut down like those wide open zones they seem to find everywhere. Once we find if he can make the tight throws, then I'll believe him.
Maybe that offense is just that good. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, they've been waiting 3 years for this guy. He had a great week 1.
Fair point. Baseball top 5. I'll go first here. So I've got the Brewers and Rangers trying to catch this top 5, but they just couldn't make the cut. So it is the same top 5. There's a slight little shuffle in there. Number 5, the Rays have fallen 2 spots, but they are still only 3 games back somehow of the AL East. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. After everything they've had going around that team, in and outside the locker room, I just feel like they stay consistent, but they're still not moving the needle for me. Number 4, the Astros. I told you this last week. This has been, I think, 9 days ago now. We last did our top 5s.
Mm-hmm.
Astros are 45-27 on the road. They went into Texas and swept the Rangers. And that was it the Mariners. They were trying to creep up. Now you guys can fall right back down. Astros are number 1 in the division again. Number 3, the Orioles, who are not moving the needle, but I did not realize that their 48-26 road record is actually second to the Braves. That's impressive. Number 2, the Dodgers, because it's the Dodgers. And number 1, the Braves, plus 239, 48-25 road record, and they clinched the playoff berth.
They did, and they're like 3 away from clinching. Their magic number, I think, is 3 to clinch the division. So,
ooh.
All right, my top 5 has a new entrant, one who hasn't been there all year. I've maybe a little hate. I don't know. Maybe a little just I hadn't believed in them, but now I do. Number 5, the Houston Astros are finally cracking my top 5.
I'm so excited.
It's time to put some respect on their name. I've put Seattle, I've put Texas ahead of them, and they just found a way to draft those guys. You know, draft right behind them until it mattered most. They've got all their guys healthy, Jordan, Altuve, etc. Bring in Verlander. Anyways, number 5. Number 4, Tampa Bay Rays. You're right. I mean, you have to question this team. If they didn't have such a hot start, where would they really be? You know, Wander Franco with this whole issue. who may never play baseball ever again.
God.
That's looming over their heads. But whatever it is, they won the games early that mattered. They're still, like you said, second in the AL East by like 3 games, despite the struggles, losing McClanahan as well. Number 4. Number 3, I'm moving down the Dodgers. I'm moving them down just a peg here. And it's not because of them. It's because of the number 2 team, the Orioles, how hot they're playing right now. I don't trust them in the postseason, but right now they're the hottest team in baseball. I can't move them all the way up to number 1 because the Braves are just the best team in baseball. If I make a bold proclamation, I don't know how bold this is, but it's going to be Atlanta and Houston in the World Series. Like, if that something goes completely wrong, if that doesn't occur.
Yeah, like Acuna Jr. gets hurt. Even if he doesn't get hurt, I don't even know if they still don't make it.
Even if Acuna Jr. doesn't play the play, I mean, they won the World Series without him.
That's what I'm saying.
If something has gone horribly wrong if those 2 teams don't meet up. The pitching for Houston is what scares me a little bit, but it's not that much. Not enough to say that they're not the AL representative. Sorry, Baltimore, you're just not ready yet, in my opinion. And Tampa Bay, I'm sorry, you're just not good enough.
I was like last week old whenever I figured out that the Oriole was actually a real ball. Like the Baltimore Oriole is a real bird. I didn't realize that. You
didn't know an Oriole was a bird?
I didn't realize like the name for the bird is actually Baltimore Oriole. I was like, seriously? They just named their team the ball? I thought that was interesting. I figured that out.
I think it's the state bird of Maryland too.
Yep. All right, we'll be right back. We're talking all things college football, including our college football top 5. Don't go anywhere. ¿Dónde está?
All right, welcome back here to the AM Drive here on this Wednesday edition. If you guys don't know, we are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during the football season. Thanks to our awesome sponsors like Agridime. If you guys want the best in meats delivered directly to your door for a fraction of the price as grocery stores, you have to go to our friends at Agridime. Just go to mikeandaarondrive.com, click the logo that looks just like the cow who's either going to be fanned or slaughtered. We can't tell which. It looks like a slaughtering leaf. I'll call it the slaughtering leaf. That's what it looks like.
That's a good
one. But basically, when you're there, AM Drive is the promo code for 10% off your order. Tell them the boys at AM Drive sent you and get delicious meats once again delivered directly to your door. They are # something burgers.
College football top 5. Aaron, I will go first here because I was so close to putting Colorado in there and I just couldn't do it.
I think we're going to have the same 5. I just don't think they're going to be in the same order.
Number 5, just missing the playoffs right now in my hypothetical sports universe, USC. If only Caleb Williams had a defense. That is just sad. Number 4, Michigan. I don't know anything about this team besides they're good defensively and they haven't had Harbaugh. What?
We have the same teams so far.
Okay. Number 3, I don't trust LSU, but Florida State winning against them is a big win regardless. So Florida State's got my number 3 spot. Number 2, this is tough. I was going to put the defending champs at number 1. I couldn't do it because I have no idea who's on that team. It's all about Kirby Smart at this point. And number 1, where's my gun? Texas. Big win at Bama. Again, I don't know much about Bama. I know that was a big deal, and they have Quinn Ewers. I do know who Quinn Ewers is. I like Texas as my number 1 team over the defending champions. They were in there by default, but I didn't put Texas in number 1.
We have the same 5 teams. They are literally in different order.
Ooh.
We don't have the same order for any of them. All right, I'll start over here. My number 5 team, quote unquote, just missing the playoff, I guess you could say, is the Michigan Wolverines.
Okay.
2 teams they've played. I understand they've beaten them comfortably, but they haven't beaten them like I need them to be beaten right now. I understand no Jim Harbaugh. First matchup, no Sharon Moore, no offensive coordinator. Fine, I get it. Week 3, you can maybe convince me. We'll see what happens. But for right now, Michigan's number 5. Number 4 is my boys, the Florida State Seminoles. I don't know how much emphasis to put quite yet into the LSU win. We put a lot into it last year. It didn't really work out. But I tell you what, I don't think I said it first, but Jordan Travis, I said it last year and this year, Heisman dark horse, 100%. Unless Sanders keeps playing the way he is. I mean, I think they might just give it to him by default this year.
Right.
Number 3 for me is USC. Caleb Williams so far has overshadowed that defense. I know they've played a bunch of nobodies yet so far, but he's so damn good. He is so good. I think he's taken a step from last year. And you're right. The USC defense after the first week has given up 14 and 10. I know it's not a bunch. It's Stanford and it's I forget who they played in the other, Nevada.
Stanford plays them pretty well.
Yeah, not this time. Remember the first half score was 49-30.
Yep.
So USC slides into number 3. Yes, I do have questions about their defense, but Caleb Williams keeps them in the top 5 for me. Number 2 is Texas.
Okay.
That's a big win, but that's it so far in Sark's tenure. And how can they build off this? Do I think they're going to be good? Do I think they're going to win the Big 12? Yes, 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 and yes. They still have to get through Oklahoma, which will be a tough one.
Yeah.
But for me, they're the number 2 team in the country. And yes, number 1, maybe by default, I don't know. I mean, they still have a freshman quarterback that they're working out the kinks, but they've only given up 10 points this year. So the defense is still strong. I'll take
Kirby Smart finds a way, man.
Is Kirby Smart the new best coach in the country?
At 1,000%.
I think so too. I think this NIL and a lot of this stuff is going to pass Nick Saban by. Anyway, that's a topic we can talk about later. But number 1, maybe by default, like you were saying, is the Georgia Bulldogs right now.
I'm excited. I agree with. I like your list as well. I don't have any. I was actually put Georgia first when I first started, but I was like, I can't take away that Texas win.
I don't agree with Michigan at number 2 right now. Not yours, but like what they have them at.
I don't know what they're doing. I think it's just by last year's default still, like by pedigree.
And I think we say this every year, preseason rankings are stupid. But
they are. We'll figure it out.
When do you think they should come out? A month in?
Week 5.
Yeah, okay. So after 4 weeks, yeah, that's fair.
I like them for hype, but the fact that we put so much at the end of the season, well, they beat this team like that was in week 2. Come on now.
Well, not only that, but it's like when a team like let's take LSU. Weren't they ranked number 5? If they lose 4 games, like what's more accurate? The week 5 where you put them in a ranking, or week 1 where you're like, oh, they're such a failure, they're such a colossal failure. Well, they weren't the 5th ranked team in the country.
Right.
That was just
especially if they lose a couple games, yeah.
Yeah, that was just your opinion. So I don't know.
It's weird for sure. South Carolina and number 1, the Georgia Bulldogs. I believe this is a night game. Georgia's favored by 27.5. Nice 4 touchdowns. Almost. And the total is set at 54.5.
This is a 3:30 game on your side. On your side.
Oh wow!
This has got to be the CBS game of the week. Is it Vern Lundquist and Gary Daniels that still do that one?
Sure. I mean, when is LSU Mississippi State? That's usually a night game, man. I don't know when that is.
Let's see. That one is at noon Eastern. So no,
it might be this one then.
This has got to be the CBS game of the week. Yeah,
good song. CBS is the best song. Anyways,
disagree.
Spencer Rattler. I don't know if he's growing on me by any means, but he's kind of like a leech that just says, hey, I know people say I used to suck, but he's kind of like crawling up my body, like kind of like making his way up to my brain, like about to infest me or whatever. I think they can lose this game by 21 or 20, by like 24 points. I don't know if I trust the Georgia offense to do their job just yet. I feel like South Carolina, if they want this ugly, I think Georgia would be okay with that as well. But if they get like a 35-10 kind of game, I'd be okay with that. I'm going to go with the under 54.5, but I think South Carolina could very well cover by a smidge.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of like the under in this spot too because I think South Carolina can score. I just don't think they can score that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, two things here really jump out at me that kind of go in opposite directions. Last year, Georgia beat them 48-7. Spencer Rattler was awful. This year, he's coming off SEC Player of the Week, 345, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown against Furman. I don't know. I'm hoping this thing gets pushed up to 28. I'd probably jump on South Carolina at that point.
Right.
4 touchdowns is a lot. Georgia, like you said, really hasn't shown us, despite the 2 blowouts, really hasn't shown us anything that like makes me believe they're going to run away from an SEC team. Maybe they're saving it. Maybe they're not.
Especially this early, I was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're saving it. If I could get to 28 with South Carolina and then even maybe put them in a 7-point teaser to get 5 touchdowns. I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like you almost have to take the points in this spot. Being that it's in Georgia, it could be a rout. This is Spencer Rattler's game to be a draft pick.
That's a good point. Yeah, good point.
Even if he loses his game by 4 touchdowns, if he throws 2 or 3 of his own, doesn't really mess up, I think he can obviously, get into the NFL and
be a 5th round pick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at right now. I mean, this guy used to be the number 1 overall consensus, 2 years ago, the Heisman Trophy favorite, and I mean, how far he's fallen. But I still think there's some talent there. And when I say it, I think there's some talent to keep it within the number. But I'd like to wait until it goes up to 28. If it does, I don't know.
Right. I do like your point about Georgia. I don't even know I still think they're saving the offense even for this game. They can beat. Whoop! Someone got a phone call.
Not me.
What was that?
I don't know. The whole screen went black for a second, but we're okay. We're back.
Yes. So close, but no cigar.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it's like you said. I mean, it's kind of twofold. Is Georgia just playing around with their dinner right now for the first 2 games? But is he a true freshman or a redshirt freshman quarterback? This guy, what's his name? I can't remember his name.
I have no idea.
I'll find it here, but.
Yeah. I just don't think, even if they were playing around with their food the first 2 games, I still feel like the next game, why would they show it against South Carolina? I still think we can get an under here.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't hate the under. The only way I think we're in an under is it's a blowout. Georgia's gonna get theirs, I think. So if we're talking about this big number, basically. I don't know. It'd be a tough total to touch because Georgia could get it by themselves if they just route. I mean, last year it was 48-7. That touches the number right there. So this is a tough one. Georgia at home. Are they going to? I mean, they're not going to take SEC games lightly. I understand what you're trying to say there. If this was Vanderbilt, maybe, but South Carolina's a little better than Vanderbilt.
South Carolina also knows how to play them if it helps. They've shown up in the past.
Yeah, I don't think the
this might be their national championship is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, every game against Georgia, whoever the opponent is that's their national championship.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, though. I mean, I understand.
Was it Deep South's oldest rivalry?
Is it?
Is that what they call it?
It could be. I don't know. I've never
old-fashioned hate, something like that.
I've followed a lot of college football. I've never heard this to be the oldest rivalry. I would think Florida Georgia might be, but I don't know.
It's like the Deep South's oldest rivalry, something like that.
The Deep South. We're getting political here.
Oh.
Yeah, no. I'm hoping this touches 28. I would grab the Cox at that point.
Oh my! You said the F word. Oh my gosh!
I didn't say the F word today.
I think you did one during your Michigan thing.
I don't think I did. But okay.
I'll run the tape back. Not right now, obviously. This is a family show. Number 14, LSU. Still number 14 is just baffling to me. On the road against Will Rodgers, who friend of the show, I feel like, because I've tried to pump his brakes a few times. Hey, he's pretty good. LSU's I don't know what that means. LSU is favored by 9. The total here is at 53.5. Aaron, I think Mississippi State could win this game. I'm going to be on my fade Brian Kelly train until he probably retires. That's just who I am. That's just what I do. I'm going to go. I think Mississippi State could win this game outright, but for the sake of the show, I'm going to go +9.
Yeah, it's hard to grade coaches nowadays, especially these new coaches coming into completely new situations like Brian Kelly. It's you have the old adage of like, wait till year 3 when he gets his guys. But with the transfer portal, it's like you can get your guys right away. I mean, hello, Dion, at this point.
Right.
So, yeah, Brian Kelly's a tough nut to crack right now at this point, because I do believe he's a good coach. I do believe that he probably wasn't the brightest idea to go to the SEC West if I was him. But, at this point, it's hard to back LSU in this spot. I get it. I mean, Will Rodgers is a great quarterback. I don't know much about Mississippi State this year in terms of, like, are they good? We thought they were good last year, and they lost to some teams that they really shouldn't have. They didn't show up. But this is a classic case. Like, is LSU at 14 more appropriately ranked? Possibly. I would love Mississippi State at, like, 10 in this spot. And by the way, I don't know if I've declared this, but I am convinced that I can't beat the books straight up. So I have become a teaser guy. I will take a touchdown where I can get it.
You are such a softie.
If I win and you lose, what's the difference? I might not make as much money as you did. I might not make as much money as you did if you win. But that's the same guy that bets an 18 parlay and goes, I went 7 for 8. And it's like, well, then bet 8 straight games, you moron. But yeah, no, it's a tough one. If I can get a point here and there, it's huge. I would look at the over in this game. I think both teams, LSU put up 72. I know it's against Grambling, but even against Florida State's defense, they put up 24 points. If you believe in Mississippi State, I think the over is a good look here. I think we could get both teams into the high 20s, early 30s in this spot.
Plus 280 for Mississippi State money line's cute too.
I don't hate Mississippi State. I wouldn't touch the money line, but I do think they can win this game.
I was going to go with the over as well, by the way. Number 8, Washington, and then Michigan State, what's left of them. Washington's favored by 16. And the total's at 57.5. Aaron, I'm going to go with Michigan State plus the points here because I've always liked this theme of, like, our coach is in trouble or fired or whatever. We have this new guy coming in. We're going to show that we're no slouches. I kind of like the plus 16 here. I love plus 17, obviously, but plus 16, I can see them losing by 10 points.
Yeah, Washington has controlled both the games they've played pretty handedly against Boise and I forget who they played the other game against. Tulsa, I believe, actually. They control both those games. I think Washington will get there. It's Michael Penix Jr., obviously. We talked about him. I don't know. You're right. I mean, in basketball, I love the team after a head coach is fired, or the thing is like so many people want Mel Tucker gone at Michigan State. I think we talked about this on Monday with regards to they're willing to they want him to be guilty so bad just so they can get rid of him, and not actually because of what he allegedly has done. So yeah, for this one, I can see the hype, centering around the interim coach. I was reading, his name's Harlan Bennett. He went to Michigan State. He graduated from Michigan State. So he said it was always a dream of his to be a coach, the coach at Michigan State. So he's going to be hyped for this game. This isn't just a get me over type, season. He's maybe coaching to be the coach. They're going to need to get somebody cheap because Mel Tucker is going to still be
give him a $50 million contract,
$70 million. So they're going to need somebody on the cheap. So Harlan Bennett might be the guy. I don't know. Or Harlan Barnett, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I like your spot here. I'm not going to play this game.
Right.
But I kind of like Michigan State catching 16 at home. If this game was in Washington, no chance.
That's fair. I kind of like the under as well. Just like make it ugly, because that's the one thing they can do right now.
Fair. I like that.
Colorado State number 18 is coached by
Coach Brown.
Woo. I'm just gonna go with the under 59 here. I kind of like the Colorado defense to kind of step it up here. I don't even want to touch Colorado State's covering it here. I'm just gonna go with under 59. And also, like we said on Monday, I don't like the fact that we're giving 23 points for a team with a bunch of transfers right now who beat piss and puke already.
Yeah. Does the rivalry even matter here in this point?
No.
Like, nobody on this Colorado team is going to be like, yeah, I've grown up dreaming about the Colorado State rivalry. Like, they're all transfers back from the East Coast. Like they don't give two, shits about the rivalry between Colorado and Colorado State. This is actually one of the games where I would just be like, yeah, I'll lay 23. I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, they beat Nebraska pretty handily. I think Nebraska's a better team than Colorado State. Can Colorado State score? I don't know. I don't know much about them. I won't pretend to.
Right.
But, boy, we know Colorado can if they need to. If I had to pick this game, which I may end up doing later on, not necessarily in the AM Drive 5, I'm just saying I may make a bet on this game. I'd probably lay the 23 points. I mean, talk about the hype going into. I think they're Oregon and then USC, or USC and then Oregon in the next 2 weeks. Like, talk about the hype. If they come off a beatdown of Colorado State, the hype going into either of those games is just going to be intense. I mean, the Pac-12 needs this. I know they're going to lose all these teams, but I mean, they're literally going out with a bang. I think they have like a 18-1 record so far. I think that's just insane to me. And the only loss is like Stanford.
I'm gonna go like
losing
40,
to one of their own.
I'm gonna go 42-10.
That works.
Under in the cover. Let's do it. Drake May season continues as number 20 North Carolina with no defense whatsoever against Minnesota, who basically doesn't have an offense. North Carolina is favored by 7 though. And the total's at 50. I don't know what Vegas knows that I don't. I think North Carolina could win by 37, but I'm too scared. Like, what am I looking at here? Like, why is it only 7?
Yeah, I saw that too. I don't quite know. It feels like a trappy line because you're right. I think Minnesota's not as good of a team as North Carolina by more than a touchdown, in my opinion. I think this line should be closer to 10. So 10. What does Vegas know that I don't know in this spot? I feel like this is a prime teaser spot, obviously taking North Carolina to
now it's 7.5, just to let you know.
Even still, I'd take North Carolina to a half or whatever. But I know the Tar Heels are missing their best wide receiver, Tez Walker. He's embattled in some kind of – he's ruled ineligible. But I know he's been fighting that. I don't know the whole situation, but obviously he was one of Drake May's go-tos with Josh Downs last year. He's not on the field. He hasn't been on the field. So I'm just curious, like App State kind of gave them all they could handle last week. They took care of South Carolina rather easily 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, what makes this line 7 is very confusing to me. I mean, you have PJ Fleck, who's known to cover a lot of spreads. But I don't know. I don't see it. I would take I'd take the over in this spot, really. I don't know.
Good point. They beat Minnesota beat Eastern Michigan at home 25-6. They beat Nebraska 13-10. I don't know what that does for me against North Carolina's offense. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm kind of thinking is that like Vegas believes Minnesota's going to keep this close, and the only way I personally think they do that is to score.
Yeah.
I really think this is going to be a kind of a shocking like 31-26 kind of victory. Now, I know that doesn't make UNC cover. I don't know if they are going to cover, like especially with now being 7.5. Like is this game supposed to be close that we don't, like you said, that we don't know about? Like I feel like Minnesota only keeps this close by scoring because I think Drake May gets his, or for whatever reason we have a Drake May clunker that takes him out of the Heisman race. I don't know.
ShakyGolf.com, code AMDrive for 15% off. Look your best, even when you're at your worst. We are #Shankful. Thursday night football preview got to get to before we end today. Vikings and Eagles in Philly. Aaron, I've got the under 48. I think the Eagles control this game, and I know like the Eagles just gave up 300 passing yards to Mac Jones. I know people are like, whoa, Jordan Addison, whatever, and Justin Jefferson are going to have their day. I mean, it's Thursday night. Those things are weird. Eagles did just play on a late afternoon Sunday game, which is very interesting. But I'm going to go with Eagles 26-17. I don't see Minnesota doing anything to keep this one like close. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this one's tough. I tend to favor the home team 99% of the time when it comes to Thursday night football, I think Philadelphia wins this matchup. So you kind of already see where my mind is going. I mean, it's laying right on the number there. Give me a teaser, Philly to win the game over 41.
Wow. Yeah, I like that because I have the 43 and then that's fair. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, or if you really like the under, take it up to 55. I don't care. But
Good point.
I tend not to tease a lot of totals, but if I'm having to do just the specific game, I'd go over the 41. I think both teams can get to the 20s. So.
That's about where I have it. That's good. I like it.
All right, that's going to do it here for us. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We are #Shankful for your support. In between this show and the next show, make sure you visit mikeandaarondrive.com for the shop sponsors, social, and of course the YouTube #subscribe. We are up to 60 subscribers now. You can be number 61. I'm looking at you. Let's pick a name. I'm looking at you, Robert. If you're watching this show, Robert,
come on, Rob.
I called you out. You need to subscribe. So again, for Michael Carvelis, I'm Aaron Krause saying gamble responsibly. Enjoy your sports week.
And as always, drive safe.
We'll see you.